Good evening. Welcome to the 10th episode of, well, it's supposed to be the 10th episode. I did the wrong math in my head, so this became the 10th episode, and the ninth episode is tomorrow, but that's what's happening because we're in a weird time warp. But I am, I just woke up, so I'm getting, getting everything blood pumping. But tonight we have a great guest. He's coming all the way across the pond. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning for him, so he had to get up and get popping. So I really appreciate his participation on this. We have Karl. He goes by Chubbs, and he's got a comic book. How are you, sir?
How you guys doing? Hello, chat. 824 hours.
Good evening, man. Dude, you have like something in your head sometimes when you start to talk, and then you blank out, and I thought I was ready to hit the go-go juice, but then I took a big sip, and I think I made my drink like a little strong, and I got like that top flavor of the vodka on there, but we'll be all right.
Well, it's how strong with what? Strong with a little bit of booze, or is it?
Yeah, oh yeah. I do vodka and Crystal Light is how I like to roll. I like to keep it light on the calories.
Yeah. It's still it's 12 a.m. there, right?
Yeah, it's just after midnight, so that's why this episode is the witching hour, because this is the first. Typically, we do an afternoon one, but we're doing extra innings this week, and we're doing a midnight special edition episode because I saw your book and I thought it was interesting, and I wanted to share it with everybody. I wanted to catch you when I could. I know it's difficult. Like it's the thing. Comicsgate has a lot of great like creators, and you run into a lot of great creators, but like they're in England and they're in Australia and like some guys in Japan and stuff, and like the time differences are just ridiculous. How is it for you trying to do like the rotation?
Oh, geez, it is difficult. I mean, especially when you speak to guys in Australia, because that is always going to be early in the morning, and I mean, not like 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. It's more like 4 a.m. And then it's still a stretch trying to get them to, to be there. Yeah, it is hard. That's kind of why we started doing like our own thing in CG UK. We've got a little show. We've got, I don't know if you follow Comicsgate, like Charlie's London's there, who did the Charlie Chaplin book. We've got Comic Mark, who does the videos. So that's our little group, and it was literally
I think I found Lucifer Storm first, and then I kind of like worked my way around UK. Then I found like Comic Mark, and then I saw Charlie's London on EVS, and that's where I found her. And then kind of then you start to find all the offshoot creators and stuff, and you find all the good books.
Yeah, it's how it's, and we all just band together so that we don't have to get up early or stay up too late, and we start trying to do our own shows, still like trying to get that off the ground. But Comicsgate is mostly focused around America. I find, I think it's probably about 70% America and 30% rest of the world. I think the UK is the biggest runner-up on participation in that sense.
So I mean, for you then, is that like consideration, like when you're trying to do your printing, like have you talked to like some of the American distributors for maybe having printing here if you're a good chunk of your base is going to be here?
No, and the reason being is that the postage is actually quite cheap from the UK to the US comparatively.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because the thing is that I have to get somebody to print it there, then I have to get somebody to spend a few days just packing everything up, midnight, morning to midnight, and that's going to be expensive, and addressing everything, and then dealing with if there are any issues, returns, and things like that. So it will be a big ask, and obviously you'd have to pay whoever it is. So factoring that in, it's just cheaper just to post it from here. There are guys who are setting up their own distribution centers, just doing fulfillment for other people. I know the Critical Blast is doing it. I know John Malin's doing it. So that might be a consideration in future. Right now I'm just focusing on getting the new book done, and then after that we'll see how it's going to work. I'll weight everything up and
So you're going to do, this is your first book, and you're going to be doing like your own fulfillment on it?
Yeah, this is my second book.
My second book? Okay.
Yeah, like this. I'll show you. This is my first one. So this we fulfilled last year in the middle of the coof pandemic in May.
Oh goodness, how was that? That had to be insane.
Yeah, we still hit it, but yeah, it was weird, but we got it. So the new book is the
Those
follow-up.
look beautiful.
Thank you, mate. And by the way, these are
I'm
available
doing
on the new campaigns.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me see what I to check my I'll check it later. Anyways, you're making me think because I can't. I check. I click a lot of boxes. I have like 20 pages now of like contributions. So sometimes I forget what I hit, what I backed, and what I read. I do like that. I do like that you can hit. That you can catch up on a lot of these campaigns, and it's really great because I kind of came in, like maybe like 8 months ago into it, and I came into like a way different corner, and just because I caught like a couple of like quick videos from Shane Davis, and then it just kind of expanded out like into the rest of CG that just went from stream to stream to stream to stream, and that just kind of where I'm at now, and sorry. Having a mind blank. God, I'm off tonight. I'm sorry, sir.
Don't worry. I'm still waking up.
I'm yeah, me too. No, I actually took a nap. I worked all day, and it's not an excuse, but we'll get working here. My apologies. All right, let's do something fun here. Let's share the project instead of me rambling on and then losing my focus and whatnot. Here we go. Anyway, I think I was making a point about contributions, but anyways, you should back this project, friends. So you want to give us a basis of what the story is and where we're at?
Oh, sure. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out. Like I said, I'm working on a Mac computer. I'm not used to that, and I don't know where everything is. There we go. Put that back there. So yeah. So just as a general background for people who don't know what Merry Boys is, it's basically 4 teenage Knights Templar, who live in Britain, modern day. They were raised by this Catholic priest who's an alcoholic, and their mission is basically to cleanse their backwater English town of sin to avoid a biblical apocalypse, because the old priest has got these apocalyptic visions of what's going to happen. So what they go out and they basically beat up criminals, pedophiles, all sorts of basically cleanse society of all the bad things in a very physical sort of way. Nice. They can't grow any hair on their heads, and they've got cleft palates. They've got these huge hands and feet, and when they drink alcohol, they get stronger and faster. Actually stronger and faster, not just.
It's like a drunk. Oh, it's an actual drunken master technique. It's not even.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's it. So that's like a superpower, I guess. The superheroes in that sense. It's almost like a very British version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But only they're not mutants. They're just this nasty birth defect.
they're just unfortunate souls.
Yeah. So if you think everything is ableist, then back this comic, because these are disabled kids who just need a little bit of love, representation. Get on that stuff.
That's amazing, though. What inspired like the Templars part of it?
I don't know. It's a good question. I'll get well, I was doing a different book called Sparko. It was published by Slave Over Graphics, which is an indie publisher in the US. I think they did Lenore, they did Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, and I got in there and I did a book. And one of the characters was supposed to be this knight with long hair, and and by the end of the book, I got really tired of drawing all that. I was writing that book. I was writing by the seat. I kind of like wrote chapter by chapter the way I went on, because I didn't think, because it ended in a different way that I thought it would start. I've changed the way I do things now, and everything is perfectly sort of planned out before. But back then, I kind of winged it.
kind of just haphazard when hey, it worked out in the long run, sir.
Yeah, it actually, it was fine. The thing is that at some stage, I got tired of drawing this guy's hair and the clothes that I picked out for him. I just thought, how crap is that? And he was supposed to be this defender of London. I thought, how about a Indiana Jones sort of Templar? How would that be? And I thought, I'm tired of drawing this hair. I'm just gonna have it be a wig, and he takes it off, and he's this bald guy. How about
Okay.
that'll make it easier? And it just grew from there. And then at the end of when it came to time to publish it, the publisher told me, you know what, you got an extra page that you can, that we need to fill up to send it to the printer. He's like, do you have anything more? And I'm like, damn, I don't. So I thought, well, I'll take this guy, this Harry character. I'll just pretend that, okay, let's do like a spoof of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Let's just draw him when he was like a teenager with his three brothers, and I was drawing them with blood all over their faces and all these weapons, and I kind of, that image just stuck with me for ages, and eventually I decided, let's turn that into its own comic. It's a hell of a lot more interesting of a concept than the comic I did before.
Yeah, you think? Oh, That's interesting, dude. I do like it. I like how the little twists and turns, little inspirations. I do love the whole idea. That's what sparked it for me. I was like drunken Templars that are beating people up for their sins. I was like, I'm digging, I'm into it like right away.
It's a bit of Clockwork Orange in there. There's a bit of so the priest that raised them had a past life regression where he was a member of the Order of the Knights Templar. So he trains them up, remembering all these fighting techniques, and he's the one with the vision and everything. So he's kind of like their Splinter character,
Yeah.
And the kind of humor is like this dark sort of British strain of humor. So it's a bit of Young Ones. It's a little bit of Father Ted. I don't know if you're familiar with those shows.
Peripherally, I've been detached from the market of a lot of shows for a good minute. I am more familiar with like older British shows. Stuff like Faulty Towers, stuff like that. Like,
I love Faulty Towers, and I hate that they're killing it right now. Well,
are they?
Well, yeah, they're sterilizing it. You can't make fun of Germans anymore, and
wow.
you know what I mean. It's like
Jesus.
you can't call anybody fat on TV anymore.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you probably can't. You probably can't even have the Department of Look. You probably can't even do like Monty Python and have the Department of Silly Walks. Like that's offensive. Like, or if you have like a pet, it's like and it's dead or something, that's offensive to people who have had pets that died. Like they take the fun out of literally everything.
Don't let Puritans of any sort of Puritans, whether it's left wing, right wing, don't let that affect entertainment, because that's all we have at the end of the day.
No, the point is having the intelligence to decipher what it is. It's like, some things are meant to be an inappropriate thing. Like that's what it is. Like that's the whole point, is like we're doing this thing because it's portraying something inappropriate. So that's the idea we're conveying here. And then we're conveying a different idea over here, and then this movie's about this other thing. I don't like this hive mind thing, because the hive mind thing doesn't allow for anything to actually develop, for you to actually, you never know what you're really going to like until other things, till you like encounter it, till it's able to be created. And so I like a world where there is a bunch of comic books, and I would prefer CG have so many comic books that like I only back like 10% of them, because there's such a wide variety. Because if there's all those other books, that means like my services, like my area is being serviced too, or that the area that I'm going to be interested in has the ability to be serviced. Like there's a freedom to it. There's the ability for that market to be created, for that to happen. And I think that's like important, as opposed to like, oh, I don't like your stuff, let's shut it down. Like, no, that's a bad environment. That's how you lose your stuff.
Like manga, you get all sorts, all kinds. Why can't we? If there's a market for it, then cater to it. There shouldn't be some sort of control mechanism saying, no, you can't talk about it. You can't do this. It will. I mean, I think eventually maybe that's the way comics will go. People will just be completely independent, and customers will go where they go. And if that's how it's going to be, and we can sort of distribution, it'll be a bright future for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the big thing is figure out the distribution and then the visibility. So like the big thing that the largest companies in the world have is that they have visual. They have visual marketing, and the issue for the indie market is that there's not enough visual in a world where there's a sea of media and stuff to consume. Like no matter where you go in different formats from 10-second clips to 2-hour videos, there's nonstop media to be consumed. And so you have to fight past all of that. And then you're like, regional. Then you have to get out to the world and out to whatever market that exists for it. That's way more difficult. And what I would like to see is some things like if the distribution issues could get worked out, because there is, depending on what country you're from and what tariffs are going on and what political climate is going on, there is real issues with shipping stuff places. Like there's you could assume an extra like $20,000 or $30,000 worth of cost just because of a tariff, because of a tax. Say I know like it was murder. It's murder to send stuff to Canada. We did a contest. We have a sponsor that like gives us coffee and kratom and CBD oil, and we went to send this guy a bag of kratom, dude. It was like almost $50 to mail it across the border, and the guy like I could almost. If it wasn't COVID, I could drive across the border to him for less than
It's
what I mean.
insane. It's cheaper for me to send something to Canada than it is for somebody in the US.
Yeah, see, I don't understand how that works, because it might actually be cheaper for me to send something to Australia than it is to send it to Canada. I don't, like it's just wild how the politics really hurt that free market that kind of is needed. So I think that if we work out a couple of little pieces, like being able to have printing and distribution in different country, like different spots, that are trusted distributors that everybody can kind of go to as a community, that would be huge, and I think that would help a lot. And then I think street teams would be another big thing. It's not just getting an online community; it's getting them active and getting them to spread the word to other comic book fans and stuff.
We need to buy a wrestler. That's what we need to do. We need to get a WWF wrestler on our books, and
it don't even. You might not even have to buy him. You might just be able to hit one up. You know what I mean? Like for the honest truth is, because there is kind of like a geek culture in the younger generation of like WWE wrestlers. A bunch of them that used to like Twitch stream. I know that WWE did something contractually where some of them don't Twitch anymore, but the point is there is a market there, and that might be a possibility. Also, if you're a proven creator, you got a couple projects out, you prove that you can do the thing, you just need a little bit more marketing. Like that's something, maybe you do reach out to WWE. I don't know, why not? Why not see if you can get the property? Like maybe you could do an official Roman Reigns comic. Who knows?
Yeah, it's just being smart about it. It's almost like it's almost existential in the sense that the publishers are gone, but now what do we do with all this freedom?
Yeah. That's how it goes. Now it's build. Build a new structure. It's build a new system, and I hope people build it better. I hope people build better setups and better deals with each other. I think that like this opens up a whole new market, right? We have the whole thing with like the family of Superman. Like Superman, the creators of Superman going broke. Superman, billions of dollars made off of Superman, right? Like just ridiculous amounts of money, right? Well, that's not right. Well, we can like now you can make new there's ways to fix that. You can make new agreements with people. You can pay people the right way. People can make better deals and considerations and stuff. And I think that's like this is like an opportunity to build a new structure that addresses all the problems that you knew existed before. So there's that. It's just solving little problems like distribution. Once you get past the distribution and being able to get the comics into everybody's hands, then it's getting in front of people and the word of mouth. And I think like I really strongly believe in street teams, because this is the thing, most creators are usually artists or have an artist that is like, hard part of the team. There's very few people that come in the game that are just spending money, that are just like, I'm hiring an artist, I'm hiring a writer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, piecemeal. There's very few people that are doing that. So you have someone available to you to like do all the promo work, like do like press release kind of stuff. And so you could make posters, you email blast it to all the people that are your hardcore supporters. You say, take this to your shop. You might even offer them an award. Like, look, you get evidence that you got this hung up in your shop. Hashtag it, send it to Instagram or Twitter or whatever. With this hashtag showing that you got it in there, and I'll send you a print or something. You know what I mean? Like
That's
whatever,
actually
it's a sticker.
that's a great idea that you got there.
Yeah,
Show
but
evidence of
it's
promotion.
but you got to get, you know what I mean? Like you got to get the poster prominently in the store so people can see, like can come check it out. I think that will bring traffic. Like there will be the person that's walking through. If you have the right, I I'm not the kind of comic book consumer where I'm like, I need this writer for this thing, and I'm looking for this run, and I'm looking for this issue with this. I'm not that person. I'm the person that walks through, and I simply look for something that looks good to me. And then once it looks good to me, I flip through a couple pages to see if it reads well. And if it reads well, then I grab it. And if I really like the story, then I just want to grab, the stacks. And I usually look for like omnibuses. I look like for proven properties or like, a big like something's like at least like 8 trades or something, compounded or something. I look for a good thick volume typically. So I'm good for the long term or the back end support, but I'm terrible for the front support until it came to CG and I started catching projects here. But like the mainstream, I would just walk in the shop and like, what do I like? And I didn't read, like I didn't go, oh, this is look at this writer. Maybe I should look for more of his books. I never did that. I just every time I went in there, I just, what's in here? What can I get? Like what can I buy in a series that's in the shop already? I don't want to have to hunt it down or anything.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's almost like that's lost because you've got your own. Every writer's got his pool. It's got his. You do get those cults for not cult. I want to call it a cult. Cult gets thrown around a lot. We get called a cult, but they don't move outside. Like the Frank Miller fans are quite hardcore in that sense. Okay, rightly so. He's absolutely excellent, but they don't read all that much. They don't read outside of that all that much. EC Comics fans also that they basically live, breathe that particular publisher's stuff, and everything else is just incidental. You know what I'm saying? So now you got to read everything. You got to enjoy stuff like that's that's another. It just ties back to having some variety, having some diversity in comic books. I grew up reading and spent my whole life just reading everything I could bloody find.
Oh.
Just lots and lots of different kinds of comics, not just the big two stuff. And now it just seems like a concerted effort to cut things down into certain pre-approved little categories that you're allowed to like. And
Yeah, I just think like that's so boring because like that I think that ends up limiting things because I as a kid I would read like I could go to the library and go pick up a big collection and read a bunch of Calvin and Hobbes. And I could easily go over and read like a stack of Mad magazines, which is a whole another thing it's in itself. And then I could go like I liked having these different things, and like while not everything like fit into my thing, there was all these different choices that if people didn't like say I wanted to create like this and then we're able to, that's what I love, all that stuff. So I love seeing people bring these kinds of things back. So I support like a pretty diverse, I think, section of like books and stuff. They're usually some kind of cross interest to me, but I do it's just like to me it's like the importance of like of having like actual diversity, like actual like this is a different style, this is a different vibe, a different feeling. Like
it's different
like,
mindset,
yeah,
completely different mindset. You are taking a walk. It's almost like a piquant sort of a vacation that you're taking through the mind of another creator. Whether you're the same as that creator, it doesn't matter. Whether you believe in the same things, no. But that's almost a good thing because you're taking a break from yourself. And if they're good at creating, if they're good at immersing you, it is a ride. It is a good experience, if it's told well to boot. And I'm just afraid we're drifting away from that. That's all. It's like the never-ending story where it's like, the book that sucks you in, and you become the Indian in the closet. You become, Huckleberry Finn or whatever the case is. You might not agree with Huckleberry Finn. You might not.
They attacked everything. They're attacking To Kill a Mockingbird now, and I just don't even know. Like I was like now you guys don't even make sense. Not like now you just don't even make sense.
It goes around in circles because it was attacked by the one side, and for X, and then I was getting attacked by the other side again. It's crazy. It's extremely.
What's crazy to me is censorship.
Yeah,
like literally. One of the things that everybody like in the world like almost like universally dislikes is a Nazi, like an actual Nazi like soldier person, like political party Nazi person, right? And like everybody watched the Indiana Jones movies growing up. They saw the Bible burning, the book burning, like censorship, like that's part of the control feature. And so like it is mind blowing to me that in a modern age that anyone would want to censor anything. Like if you start that whole game, that means you could get shut up. Like just because you are like have the winning piece on the chessboard right now doesn't mean like you don't have checkmate at any given time. Like, this is an ongoing game, and so like you could get shut down. This is not how you want to negotiate things. Like it's terrible.
And cancel culture is independent of the actual political drive behind it. If it becomes a thing to shut things down, if that's just how people operate, then when the whole political paradigm shifts again, then the people who are cheering on all this sterilization and canceling then it's going to be their turn, and it won't be good either because they don't want to be able to enjoy their books. If you know.
Here's the other part that these people never are able to do. They never jump to the end. They never read the complete history book and pay attention to what happens after the revolution is successful. So here what happens to the successful revolutionaries. They cut all their heads off. Why? Because they don't want an uprising in the population in the new world. They want the cattle people. So go ahead and be that forerunning person that like censored everything and you thought you shut down like all the evil and stuff, and you're the first person that they're getting rid of because you're the first person that's going to cause trouble when things don't go the way that you think that they are supposed to go, or they don't turn out the way like when the actual agenda is revealed behind everything.
Welcome to utopia.
Yeah. Welcome to the new world, man. That's and that's the thing is like, okay, I love a lot of different kind of art, and I was at Comic-Con here locally here in Spokane, Washington, and there was a guy there, and he's like an official. I'm not sure what the company's called, but the company that does wrapping. Are you familiar with hot rod culture at all?
No.
Okay, so there's a very infamous American like character, and it's like this art brut kind of style artwork, and it's all like has to do with like hot rod culture, and so there was an artist there that was like featuring a bunch of prints and stuff that he had done and was selling them things, and he's an official like because Radfink is a very old brand or whatever, so like there are artists that have the ability or deemed with the right to be able to draw like a Radfink, right? So he can do that. He's an official like artist for that, and it's one of those styles I've always dug, and I'm hoping to get him. I want to get him on.
Is that like James Phillips sort of stuff? Like it's the rat driving that really cartoony suit.
Yeah. Okay, well, I got like the green screen fucking light. Okay, hold on. We'll do this. We'll fix this. Stop camera. Oops. Camera. Green screen is messing it up, and the fucking mic. But yeah, like this kind of
yeah. I know exactly what you mean there. It's also a bit like that Santa Cruz artwork, like Jim Phillips and these guys used to do. Powell Peralta, well, not Powell Peralta, but definitely Santa Cruz and the surfboard.
Yeah, I dig Santa Cruz is like one of my favorite brands. I love the hand, like that's very iconic. I love that whole style. Yeah.
He did a comic called Road Rash that I loved. I bought a skateboard deck for that comic because the comic came with it. But
Oh, okay.
it was excellent, and I've been trying to track down because I lost it years ago, and I've been trying to track it down again. But it's done in this really sort of old. It's just the art style is excellent. It's great. It's if you can find it,
It's very like it's a very like an American kind of indie thing because this is something that like you would see this kind of like art style and like punk rock kind of stuff too, you know, and like that, like I said, like a whole like art brute, you know, thing, and it's just like, oh, I was like, this is dope, and like he does take commissions, so I'm talking to him about doing an owl for our Outcast Owls channel, like
oh cool,
in the car, yeah, oh yeah, I'm super stoked.
oh that's awesome.
I like that. I also like I don't know if you're familiar with Coop.
Coop, that rings a bell. Tell me.
He does like the devils and the aliens, like the really like hot chicks, or it'll be like devils and nuns and sexual positions or whatever, like hot rod, like space aliens. So it's all devils and space aliens. It's kind of like a very like 1950s kind of feel.
Okay, like psychobilly, rockabilly sort of.
Like yeah, like a psycho rockabilly setup.
Right. Okay, I know what you're talking about. You see, yeah. Lots of card playing devils with neck tattoos and cigars and ring. Yeah, I think I know what you mean. I think
So it's kind of like that, but like so these devils are more like they'd be like in a 60s outfit or something, right? And it would be like a really attractive but devil chick, or it'd be like a devil chick and like in the more lewd stuff, like getting it on with a nun or something crazy.
Tattoo, sort of like it's almost like you'd
yeah. There's a lot of them do end up getting tattooed, which I'm a big. That's one of my favorite. That's really like some of my favorite art is like it comes from tattoo culture and tattoo art. I dig how it's developed and stuff. There's sections of it that I'm not a proponent of, but like for the most part, I dig it. Like I said, I dig everything existing so that I can have mine.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. I thought of becoming a tattoo artist at some point, but I don't have any bloody tattoos. And it's
So okay, well, this is the question. Like, have you ever thought about getting a tattoo? Have you tried it out? Like, there aren't like any tattoo artists that don't have tattoos. Like a lot of tattoo artists have like a lot of excessive like overran tattoo.
yeah. I got a mate who's a tattoo. He's got his own tattoo shop, and he's a big fan of all my stuff, and just in general, he's a big sort of culture nut. And he's got like the tattoos running down and all that. And he taught himself how to do it by tattooing his own legs. He got himself a tattoo gun, and
Yeah.
this punk rock kid who just did his own sort of bad tattoos on his upper leg because he couldn't practice on anybody else in good faith. And great guy. Yeah, I've never. I don't know. It's just because when I draw something, the tendency is that a few months down the line, I look at it and go, yeah, I could have done that better. And I'm afraid that if I ever if I had to design my own stuff, that is,
But okay, here's the thing though, that what's great about a tattoo is that it's temporary. It's a temporary piece. It's like it's a moment in time because it only lasts as long as the person lasts.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like even if you don't like it, well, eventually it's going away, and then depending on the age of the person, sooner than later.
So you don't have to look at it every day.
Well, I mean, depending on aging conditions, and like I said, like if you put it on someone 20, then yeah, like I didn't like that one as much. You got to live with it longer that it's floating around the world. But if you put it on a guy that's like 45, then you only have to deal with it for a lot less time.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll get into it.
That's actually the thing to me, like with tattoo artists, like you spend so much time making art that is going to disappear. That's insane.
There was a guy who sold. I remember he had a David Bowie tattoo on his upper leg, a really elaborate, beautiful sort of piece. And when he died, he had well, it was like in his will to cure it and to frame it, and I think it's hanging on somebody's wall now as a piece of. He sold it at an auction or something when he was still alive. The rights to have this elaborate tattoo. Yeah, so I don't know. It depends on how strong your stomach is to If you, but yeah, because it's a piece of leather. It's a piece of leather with work on it.
Well, I mean, I have seen like Japan has like a whole like museum like area where it's like people have got their bodysuits preserved and stuff, and like I would love to do something like that. And so yeah, like that's a possibility. But like, for the most part, like you're an artist and creating things. Like, well, if you're a print art, even if you're a commercial artist and you're doing like you're designing ads or something, your artwork still exists, and in some cases, it can be very iconic. You know what I mean? It becomes part of pop culture. Like, you're the guy that drew Charlie Sunkiss for the Sunkiss tuna cans. Like, or you drew whatever cat for the cat food. Like some of that stuff, like sticks. Like your work is always there. Like other than if you draw a flash set and you like make sure to publish it under your name, and that could change as a tattoo artist, but you know there's no permanence. Like your work, like you're pumping out and you're creating, and it's all temporary. It's all just like, it's not like a, most artists go out, they build a sculpture, they paint a painting, they paint something on a wall. Other than tattoos and graffiti are like the two things that are just like a temporary.
Graffiti. Yeah, geez. My city is really big for graffiti. We've got like the biggest graffiti festival in Europe, apparently. And just there are loads and loads. But every year, for the new festival, the stuff I really like gets painted over, and they get somebody else to do something on top of it, which isn't always superior to that. And also,
Yeah,
you
that
spend,
doesn't it
it's
break your heart when you see a good one get mauled over by some complete garbage? You're like, I was like, how did you even get approved to be with the other people? Like they should at least match it up. Like if you have some crappy ones, then you're gonna get like if you're like letting a certain amount of people in or whatever, then put all the crappy ones over the crappy ones. Do not cover up the cool section with a shitty one. Like that's a terrible decision. I don't know who made that decision. Who divvied up these spots? Like, were you not paying attention to the art submissions? Like, we weren't thinking this out a little bit.
yeah. I get that it's exposed to the elements, and eventually it'll fade. But I'd like to appreciate it for as long as possible. Mind you, there was also this big painting of Greta Thunberg on the main street. That's gone
Oh,
now.
Jesus.
She's aged out. She's not relevant.
Yeah, I mean, okay, look. I don't mind the child, and she has her ideas and stuff, but like, I'm sorry, you can't take world advice from an autistic child, and I'm a father of an autistic child. Like, I'm just saying, like, this is not how you should do things. If I operated based off my daughter's world purview, like, things wouldn't happen. Like, things wouldn't operate like they need to. So, like, that
Yeah.
can't.
I agree with the
It's
message. Actually, I don't agree with everything around it.
I
Because
don't agree with methodology. I agree that we should fix our planet. I just don't agree with methodology. And the issue is that we're like, I can do whatever I want in my country, right? Like, let's say all of America's on board, all of Australia, all of Canada, all of Britain's on board. Okay, well, there's still Africa, the whole entire continent of
China,
Africa.
China's
There's
just going to
all the
have it.
China. Yeah, China's going to give everyone the big middle finger and do whatever the fuck they want. Like, so there's like world issues. South America is not, they have developed and then regressed and stuff, and so it's just like there's only so much you can do without going back to world conquering.
Yeah, look, it's a fad. It's fashionable to be really, because a lot of people don't have any passion in their lives. They don't. So they go look for things to get very passionate about, because being very passionate about something is a thing. What the thing you're passionate about is variable, but
Yeah.
being an activist is a thing now.
But see, the thing is that people used to just find a fucking hobby. You know what I mean? Like I just like today, like I always look for different things that look interesting because, I might have varying interests in it, but who knows what the experience is like. So I'm at work and part of my job requires me to drive around town during the day. So I was driving around and I noticed when I went past the fairgrounds that there is a model train expo this weekend at the fairgrounds. And I was like, that sounds pretty cool. I might go check that out. I'm not doing anything this weekend. Like, while I'm spend like, 45 minutes walk through that thing and see what's up. Like, that's what people used to do. Like, why can't people just be normal human beings and go like check out trains and maybe like get into model trains or go check out some like other expo or of something else or a comic book thing, and like I don't know, fall in love with something that's legitimate as opposed to like some weird like moral stance and political culture and
because
that
they're
defines your
exposed.
entire life.
They're exposed to things on. Well, the thing it's the internet. You're exposed to things that make you believe that this is the most important thing right now, and it's written by people who, who not normal people. Media people are not normal people. They're not your average sort of Joes. They are people who have to have they have to spice things up for their jobs because they need the clicks, to work for the big moguls. But also
Hmm.
they're not balanced people. Your typical media people just aren't your normal dudes.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like a lot of entertainers aren't very balanced people. Like that's the trick that everybody like doesn't get. Like they're narcissist or they're egocentric or they have like severe. It's like the opposite. They have severe self hatred issues or something. And it's some kind of expression. It.
Yeah, you're a typical Guardian columnist. I don't want to know what their home lives are like. It must be terrible.
Oh my god. Yeah, okay. These people who get butthurt over everything, like video games have been getting attacked, and like Korea just doesn't give a fuck, so they're just gonna put out video games and they're just gonna make them how they want to. But the American video game nerd people that hate actual video games, the supposed video game nerds, are gonna get on their websites and start typing stuff and attacking like, they're sexualizing this. There's like some kind of weird attack on women, and for some reason you can't just have actual or attractive women be a part of anything in the modern world. Like it's against the law.
It's just
Look,
it's just what's the word? It's just envy. That's all. There are loads
no,
of
I know. I
beautiful
weep.
women who are happy
I
at being beautiful women and love being
but
appreciated as beautiful women. I
But
don't.
like it's envy in the wrong way. This is the thing. People used to envy and aspire, right? Like work
Uh,
towards and want. So like the whole idea of a superhero was like they're better than you. They're not here. I don't want to know that Batman has a fucked up home life, and I don't care if he eats pussy or not. Like these are things that
I don't
are
want to
like
see it really. I mean, I know it's
like,
true, but I don't want to. It's just I don't associate that with Batman. It's
no, I
bad.
want to see Batman doing Batman shit, like kicking like some kind of plot going down and him having to solve some kind of problem, and him, using some cool gear and beating the shit out of some bad guy. That's what I want to see. I don't, or some kind of brilliant plot where it's a detect, like, if you want to go back to like the old school, more detective side of it, that's fine. But like I don't like all this other stuff of like this weird interaction, like interpersonal interactions of daily like boring life. It's like it's basically like the kids who grew up with Instagram, like Instagram existed their entire lives, are now writing comic books and it's based off of Instagram. It's like nobody cares about what you ate at lunch. So like quit putting it in the comic book.
Alfred made
Also,
me an omelet for lunch. Thank you. That should be it. Bruce Wayne didn't do any of the normal day-to-day shit that you and I do. He's Bruce Wayne. We're not supposed to relate to him. We're supposed to be
Well,
awe.
Bruce Wayne's a fucking millionaire or billionaire, right? Like he's got an ungodly amount of money. He's not doing like he lives a completely different life than us. Like that's just the reality of people who have billions of dollars.
I still got a Batman idea that I want to do one day. I never will be able to, but maybe one day. It'll be
Oh,
just
you know what though? Is that I mean, like it depends. Like I was gonna look it up. I actually wanted to do some research and see how many comic book characters in their original like format will be out of copyright in the next like within our lifetime.
it's not that simple because
Because
like look at Plastic Man. He's out of copyright, but you wouldn't dare try doing it because you wouldn't try doing a Plastic Man comic because even though it's the characters out of everything in those first publications is now in the public domain, everything that was continuously created isn't,
yeah,
and there will be an argument to be had with the lawyers of this big bloody corporation where trying to argue with you and running up your legal costs stating that this is actually something that came on after, plus the trademark is going to be is perpetual because they're going to keep renewing that. So it's like Tarzan's a really good example. The Tarzan, the Igor Barro's estate is extremely litigious. They've got a legal team. They make a lot of money for themselves pursuing claims against comic book companies and movies and stuff. For Tarzan, and Tarzan's been out of that's the earlier books is definitely in the public domain, but they'll still sue the fuck out of you if you try doing the Tarzan.
So it's like still an estate that has like control of the Tarzan. Okay.
There's
And
an
well, I
article.
see. So this is my question though: is like, is there an argument for that though? Like the corporate thing is bothersome, but like does your family earn the right perpetually for your property? Like where that's it's a really interesting question. That's a debate that we had, and I'm not really sure where I would stand on it necessarily because
Well, it's relevant now, the debate, because the Ditko's, I think it's his son, is applying to have to is applying for the copyright of Spider-Man. That's
yeah,
big hot.
that would be insane if he gets that. Oh,
Well, nothing
that
will
would break.
happen. All it will mean is he'll get, because he's going to license it back to the company, because they've
Yeah.
exploited the best to make the most money out of it. So the family's just going to become a lot richer if that's the case, if they're successful. Nothing else will change.
So my question is like maybe there needs to be some kind of restructuring, you know what I mean? Some kind of deal where if a property extends its life, let's say it's a continuous life property like that where it keeps building and it has something, maybe there needs to be a new thing that's created that is a fund that goes, continuously to the original creator's family or something, to that dynasty or that legacy.
In the UK, there's something like that for art, for original art. It's not the same in the US. But say if you have a famous British portrait painter or something, and
Hmm.
they paint something, sell it for £100 20 years ago, and now that same thing is being sold for millions, and they keep getting a percentage of it every time it gets sold. Like Bernie
Oh,
Wright's screwed quite badly. I mean, like one of
is
his.
there like a collection? How does that work? Like who collects that money for the person's family, like for that painting?
I'm not sure of that, but it's regulated by legislation, and that came in force, I think, 2007 or something. We've had it for a
That's
while.
amazing. That's actually pretty amazing. That's actually yeah, because that is devastating when you think that like there was an artist that like lived their entire life in poverty and then their painting somewhere in history starts selling for millions upon millions of dollars. Like that's insane.
Yeah, like Bernie Wrightson. I mean, he's one of his Frankenstein spreads sold for over $1 million on the Sotheby's sale, and he sold that I think about a decade earlier for about 10,000. And his family struggled a lot because he left massive medical bills. The guy died of brain cancer. You know.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that must have stung terribly. I mean, you could have.
I well like I haven't watched it yet, but I'm gonna watch the Bob Ross thing on Netflix. But like I just heard the peripherals of like the family doesn't own like anything. Like
Really?
they can't even like the son can't even use his name like professionally because he's like Bob Ross Jr. Like it's that like fucked up of a situation.
That's lawyers, man. They fuck everything up.
Well,
It's
like this is my thing. Like even if you own my dad's image, just because I'm junior doesn't mean you own junior. Like how the fuck can you get a? That's like some kind of legacy. How do you get a legacy deal? Like you don't get a legacy like purchase of something just because. Like what if I didn't like my father? Like, you don't get to sell. Like he doesn't get to sell me out. That's some like, weird, weird like slave line stuff. Like oh now I own your family with this contract. Get out of here. But I mean, music too. Like music changed, right? Like the whole industry changed and how like music was made, and distribution, how money was made, and artists now have like if you're on an actual record label and you're a major artist, like 360 deal. They get a part of your touring, they get a part of your merch now. Like that was always your money, unless they fronted the tour or did some promotion. That was all your bread and butter. Yeah,
it's
that's
everything has changed with the whole piracy thing. And the whole world. No, it's not just they say piracy is the big problem. The problem is it's the lack of monetization. Now it's with Spotify and all that. It's just that the cut is so incredibly small. You may as well have people pirate your stuff. If you're getting.
well, okay. So that seems to be the argument with some bigger artists, but there's like a whole mess of artists that are on YouTube, right? That like start their careers on YouTube that get a couple 100,000, or maybe they have a couple million subscribers, like 2 million subscribers. They get a couple 100,000 views on their music videos, and they're buying Lamborghinis. They're living good life. You know what I mean? Like they're they have properties, they have houses, they have gold chains and stuff. So you know, I don't know. I don't know if that's a valid argument, because there is collection. I do think that there needs to be something like where there is for music. There does need to be something with like comic book stuff. And I think that like one of the cool things I thought about CG was like, I would make deals, especially like in my situation where I'm not an artist. I might write it. I would still hire a comic book writer to rewrite a proper comic book script. And then I would still hire an editor to edit everything, because like I double check my double checking, but uh I mm, I lost my train of thought there, sir. What was that?
It's about monetizing.
Oh, monetize.
Yeah. The subscription model, that Substack subscription model seems to be there seems to be something a company believes in strongly enough to hire people at extremely.
Oh, that was my point. I'm sorry. I just caught it. I'm firing. My brain's starting to fire back. So what I would do is do some kind of cut deal on it. You know what I mean? Like if it got extremely successful, then I would say, beyond this threshold, like if it hits this threshold and like we blow up, then you start seeing a percentage or something. Beyond the page rate, because like at that point, I mean, it depends on like how dependent you are on the situation, because there's a lot of creators that are artists and writers, and they can do all of it, and or various sections of it, and so they can save themselves quite a bit of money, or they can invest their time into themselves, into the project, to create a property.
Yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones who can do that. Comic Mark says I cheat because I draw my own stuff because he's reliant on other artists to draw everything. But I think that's the way to go for crowdfunding most of it. But then again, if you're a good YouTuber, if you're a good content creator, and you have a lot of interest, then you can do a comic book and be extremely successful. Look at Tug was very successful. His Cecil was in doing his. So it's not prohibitive. It's just getting the eyes on there. It's getting if you've got a big enough market, you can offset those costs. So it's not a big cost.
That's something I was saying, like backstage, like people do the online thing, which is great, and it does work out, but like you have to like measure the percentages on that. You're gonna probably get a lot more traffic on the foot thing. Like people need to not forget the foot game. They can't forget like hitting conventions and stuff. I think it's very important, and in fact, I think it's a golden opportunity, because COVID smashed a lot of things. A lot of stuff is very bare bones, and the industry used to like run a lot of these cons. Well, you could breathe a lot of life back into them by bringing in a bunch of indie artists, like just stack it with indie and let people come in and discover like all new books and all new creators, and also give creators an opportunity to meet each other.
I also think apart, just speaking of revival, I think Diamond would do well in becoming more indie friendly, and cut a lot of their bullshit and try and be part of the new, the new generation of the new way of the way things are getting done. And if we had to have like a distributor, that would be insanely cool. But conventions, you're right. Meeting people, it's basically what we're doing now on a bigger scale. I mean, okay, at a convention you can meet X amount of people. Online you can do more, but the principle is the same. That what we do differently to what guys working for the big two do is we become personable. We speak to the people who back our projects, who are interested, and we have this ongoing dialogue. We take advantage of that. It's your personality that sells your stuff. That as much as it is your comic.
Well, it's personality, it's art, it's like it's all about it, and like I saw that flavor. That's why, I mean, I saw your book. That's why I wanted to get you on the show, is because I saw the book and I saw the flavor, and I was like, oh, that's very like British and very fucking cool, like very punk rock. I don't know, like it just. I was like, oh, I like it. I'm digging it. I want to go. I want to see like what it's about.
Cheers, man. Cheers, appreciate that. Oh yeah, do you want to see the video of it?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know 6 a.m. Comics, Mark Mironelli, but he did this amazing sort of. I'm not a hip hop guy at all. I'm a metal punk sort of guy, but he did this hip hop track. I said, because he did this rap review of my first comic, which I really liked because it was funny.
Yeah.
And I said, "Do you want to do something like that, but a bit more like Beastie Boys sort of stuff?" And he just went off and he did it, and he came back with it without much direction. And I really like the way
Oh, if you have it, let's share it. Let's get it.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
it's the
Oh, no,
trailer.
that's the wrong one. This one, okay. Let's do
Oh,
this.
wait a sec. That's not sharing. So it's there we go.
There. Boom.
Here we go.
Full screen.
Never far from the bloodstained panel. Heading to the bar with my brothers holding him to battle. I smell sinners and I swear I'm running out of cheeks. Father, forgive me, but my tolerance is getting weak. Should I flatten them out or should I take a shot? Bottoms up before I pile up some body parts. The devil's in the bottle, so I guzzle from a glass. With every sip, I feel like taking out the city's trash. I'm fitting John for a quad around the dose of babies. We treat the devil's only fair that we replenish these. Or we can pray to repent and let God sort. I'd rather make them confess and go to war on. First to the perfect step for the proper sequel. It's proper piece of commentary, which there is the legal. Despite of others, words intentions even walk the valley. And cast a shadow with death, the wickedness is valley. Just want to go to the town and pound a couple lockers.
Oh, there you go. There we go. Hell yeah, dude. I like your comic book company name too, Proper Comics. I was like, that's sick. I was like, I'm digging it. I'm a big fan of Guy Ritchie and like his like movies, like all the mobster kind of rock and roller stuff. I love that shit.
Proper.
Yeah.
yeah. I chose it because it is a very English sort of word, and it shortens to PC, which I find deeply and it's almost like EC, which I love, which kind of stems from because I grew up like you. I grew up with Mad Magazine, and then later on when the old EC horror comic reprints came in, I got massively into those.
Yeah, I mean, I liked all kinds of weird stuff. Like, okay, so this is the thing, man. Like, I'm into like cool, like weird things that go off top, like off to the side and stuff. But it used to be its own lane. So like, I get annoyed with like modern comics because they seem to do it like in mainstream and not like pocketed. But like, I like the heavy metal stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I like that crazy when you start getting into psychedelic and get into like crazier different stories. But like it used to have its own section, it used to be its own lane. Like people knew, like there used to be an understanding, like this is a deviant thing that you're watching right now. You should know that. And people are like, I understand, I know that. Now people are like, this is normal. Everybody should watch. Like, no, stop it. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
That's how society breaks down. You're supposed to know what are good and bad behaviors, or what's like off track or off keel. My buddy in the chat said he couldn't imagine being a comic book writer in the 90s, like with no internet to promote. But actually, Don Chin, he'd be an excellent like example. Like the 90s were killer. The 90s was like an open market. Like
his writers did really well. Yeah. The guys were selling 60, 70,000 copies of the indie comics at that point. Like
a month. Like issues. Like they were burning. They were killing it. Yeah. It's insane. Some of these guys that are in CG, and I just like Don Chin's one of the ones that, like, I don't understand why he doesn't have a little bit more fire behind him. Just because I have heard celebrities who I know have huge like fucking Instagrams and shit mention his name several times. I know. Like on Comic Book Man, Kevin Smith said Don Chin's name like 1,000 times. And I'm just like blown away that his like YouTube is not blown up, like not like 1,000 million times bigger.
He's a funny guy, and he's done work for Mad Magazine. He's done all sorts of like his parody stuff is great. He's a creative, and I think you get memory hold a bit. It's always I don't know. Do you think it's the CG thing? I don't know. I don't know what the reason is for that.
I think what it is, like I said, it's 2021, and there is so much ability. Like it's a different market, it's a different world, right? Like while there is so much ability to get stuff out, there's so much stuff out that it's just noise. It's just like a market of noise, and I think that you get drowned out. I don't think it's like the same thing. I think that's like why I was saying like going to the conventions. There's a difference like in sales. You know, you can call somebody and you can get a certain amount of like convincing done with them, right? Like when I worked at an auto shop, there's a certain amount of things that I could say to somebody over the phone, and I could get whatever bill like passed. But it's completely different when you're standing in front of them, and I can do a couple of other tricks, and I can shake your hand, and I can look you in the eye, and I can, you know, there's like a different level of connection there that is more lasting. And I think like in the 90s, like there was big conventions and people did hunt things. The 90s was also still in the time frame when people didn't just rely on internet and apps to find shit. Like, you know, like if you started to get into comic books, you would hear about something like, hey man, there's a swap meet, there's gonna be all these comic books at the VFW. Hey man, there's like this thing, and you developed, and then those things turned into conventions that turned into this big proper thing that everybody easily walks into today. You know, that's just all like glam and glitter and stuff that didn't exist before. And I think people have just gotten lazy. So there's not the seeking anymore, because people used to have to seek entertainment and seek like human interaction.
That's right.
And I
Everywhere
think that
now.
there's availability of so much. It's just noise. Like TikTok. Like how much time, like I don't know, I don't have it, but like at work, like when I'm on break, like all my coworkers have TikTok, and like while I'm watching like a 10-minute YouTube video, I can hear in the background video change from like every 30 seconds change, like, you know, because they're watching TikTok videos, like mass consumption.
Kids eating Tide Pods are more popular. Cat videos are more important than comics. Well, I don't know. To some, but the problem is this: is that kids didn't have comics in their lives growing up, and because comics are so bloody expensive, you know, that's a thing. You're not just your dad. My dad used to bring home comic books. They were cheap as chips. Pick up a few, drop them off at home. Hey, Wally, Terrio comics.
I do check out some of his streams. They do some good review stuff.
Good pop culture stuff, yeah. But as I was saying, it's just that your comics were always present because they were cheap and you could see them everywhere. Going to you saw them at newsstands and everything. Kids today, now it's a specialty item. Now it's something for grown-ups to go to. And it's out of the public. It's under the blanket now. You don't get to see it. It's not out in the open anymore. And
it's become a specialty like kind of thing, and that is one of those, you know. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I think manga is kicking like the traditional comic books like market's ass like into the ground, because they still have mass distribution. They have mass distribution in places where people are at, like train stations and in gas stations and stuff. And like what we're missing is the spinner rack. I did have an idea about that though, like how to like solve that in 2021, but it would take an incredible amount of deal making, right? You would have to have the right person like put this together. But if you did, you would be like one of those like infamous like Jerry Maguire kind of people if you were able to do this. But like, you know how Redbox is in. Do you have Redbox in England?
we probably do. I just don't have it.
Okay, so Redbox is like that. It's a DVD distribution company that's like in stores, like the little touchscreen thing where you rent a DVD. It replaced like Blockbuster and the other video stores. It became the quick grab thing that's like outside of every fucking, now like it's pretty much the new newsstand. You know, you used to like back in the day, it was like there was a little rental section inside grocery stores or inside of like, you know, different pharmacies and stuff, and then rental video stores became a thing, and then they became a big thing, and that kind of like replaced that. Well, now they have Redbox that took that out, right? Like the Netflix thing where they're sending the shit originally like in the mail, and then like with Redbox that took out the video store. But that is a digital distribution, so that company already has the contracts and the capital to build machines, because they built multiple machines for their DVD distribution. But they also have the capability of, or they have the distribution deals, and they have the capability of building machines, right? So this is what I'm thinking is, they have book printing machines. So if you made trade paperback versions, a lot of CG properties are like 48, 72, multiple pages, right? You could break these story lines up, especially if they're multiple editions, into trades, right? And then you could make covers. And then you could make a set amount of covers, right? Like you could set a number of 5,000. So then you have all these machines distributed all over the world, right? And pharmacies, grocery stores, everywhere. Quick, walk up to it. It has all the titles on it. It prints on demand.
Oh, right. It actually just prints off.
Yeah, it just prints a trade copy, like just the paperback copy of the story. And like I said, you could program it so that like all the machines would be linked together, right? Because we have the internet, everything would be linked together. So all the machines together would keep account. So let's say you set a count like I want 5,000, like so you call it technically the first printing, right? But only 5,000 copies of this cover will print out of these machines, period.
See what you're saying. Okay.
All right. And then you have the extra collectability because the machines print out the books. You don't know what machine's going to print out what books or how many books are going to come out of what machine. And so there are going to be certain machines that are going to be rarer, right? So there's going to be an edition of the book that was printed out of a machine in like somewhere in England that like only printed one copy of that book. But that's the rarest version of that first printing of that copy.
Right. Okay, that's a totally different
You
world.
know, but it would be a licensing agreement. You know what I mean? You would have to license your property to a company that would take that licensing agreement to someone like a Redbox, right? To an established company like that. It would do the distribution, and it'd be percentages. It'd be all digital money.
I think that would work in a culture that's already used to consuming comics, like as you say, well, Japan, but also like Italy. When we went to Italy, you still see their own comics everywhere. Newsstands, stationery shops. I saw them in restaurants while I was waiting for a pizza. They had.
So, have you thought about trying to broach that market, like having your comic translated and
I'd love to. That's like part of the plan. The French market, the Franco-Belgian comic book market is massive.
Yeah.
It compares to the US comic book market. You know, it is extremely strong, moves huge numbers. The Italians are also very, very much into comics. You know, those two, I'd be very interested in getting into. But it's the language barrier, because the French famously don't care for English that much. A lot of good comics just don't get translated into English, and the Italians not so much either. That's the thing.
That's terrible. But I heard like the French have like a whole like Western section of comics. And I'm like, how can you sit there and be angry at Americans? Like, I'm not going to translate this shit. When you took the shit from America, there's no Wild West of France. Get the fuck out of here.
Tex is the biggest selling Italian comic, probably one of the biggest European comics ever. It is huge, massively. The whole genre of cowboy comics in Europe is staggeringly big.
That's insane. That you would think that there would be like American and English creators jumping on that. Like, you know, I would think that would be. I mean, come on, like where the spaghetti westerns. I mean, or even Japanese creators, because I mean, some of the Western stuff was stolen from Japanese film.
Yeah, I don't know. It's always like wanting the thing that you can't have. You know, they don't have these. You know, the same sort of escapes. They don't. Yeah, they just never had that. Guess. But yeah, anyway. But also weird to me that, you know, I think the biggest British comic book character is comic book character is probably Judge Dredd, an American, you know.
Oh yeah, Judge Dredd is amazing. I love Judge Dredd. I like Stallone's Judge Dredd. I wasn't so much digging the new movie.
Really?
But I don't know as much. I don't know. I'm just but I was a big Stallone. Look, I grew up with Stallone. I like Cobra. I watch movies like Fist. People don't even know what Fist is, but it's like a truck. It was a movie that Stallone did where he started. It was like the truck driving union in America.
Right. When I think trucks and Stallone, I always think of Over the Top. You know, the arm wrestling.
The arm wrestling one. That's another famous. But see, that's like one of the famous. That's what I'm saying. I get into the deep. I go past the Cobras and I get into like Victory, where like he's doing the World War II where he's a World War II soldier that's captured, and he has to play a soccer game against the German Nazis, and then they do an escape plan.
I haven't heard of that. I haven't heard of that one. Was that like? Is it really good?
Pele is in that movie. It's a great movie.
Really? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, Pele was featured in that movie. That's the thing, people don't know. Like Stallone, like they make fun of him, but that man, like, is the screenwriter for the majority of his movies.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. His
And
first film. What was his first film?
what?
His first movie that he played in.
I think it was like, mm-mm.
Am I right in saying it was Death Race 2000?
I can't. I'm not sure. I think it was like a porno, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
The Italian Stallion. It makes sense now. It's just a name that stuck with him, maybe. I kind of think it was Death Race 2000, which was an amazing movie. It was just crazy, and that was one of the key inspirations for 2000 AD and Judge Dredd. That movie, Judge, with it's like a futuristic movie about having to. It's almost like The Running Man. It's almost like Wacky Races meets The Running Man.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely over the top. And he was playing in that. And I got to rewatch that again at some point.
I love cinema from like the 70s and 80s because there was like a certain amount of just unhinged creativity that happened. And like one of the greatest things that ever happened is that whole kerfluffle where they were doing the rights to movies and how things have fallen out of copyright because certain things were not filed correctly by whatever production company when it was put out. And there are some gems. And I'm going to do some watch-alongs on my channel, actually, of some stuff. But one of the ones that I watched along with an Australian buddy of mine on another channel we're going to do on this channel is Tracks. And it's this, like, 1980s guy. Okay, so he was a former cop, and he gets hired by this town to clear up this gang. But he's a retired cop, and his main thing is he wants to, like, retire and bake cookies. So throughout the entire movie, he's like making cookies, right? Like, but they're like fucked up cookies. Like, one set was like chili cookies. Like, this is a batch of chili cookies, or here's like Boston crab cake cookies. Like, he just made all these terrible batches of cookies trying to make. Like, he's like, I'm gonna be the next Betty Crocker, you know?
Break into cookies, man.
Yeah. But everything he made tasted terrible. That was the funny thing. Like, he just kept he was determined. Like, I'm gonna figure out how to bake cookies.
That's a good allegory for people who want to do comic books. Generally speaking, it's like I've got this vision for what I want to do. I want to be there. Just getting the right recipe, getting the right flavor of something that'll break out and appeal to everybody.
Rocky 1967. That's what he said.
Was
I guess that was the first one. Rocky was great. Rambo was great, but there's he did like a movie with Dolly Parton where he was like this New York guy that like had to go out in the country and survive.
The Rhinestone Cowboy sort of story, wasn't it? I think
something like that.
Yeah.
He's underrated. Tango and Cash. Kurt Russell's another one like that is just underrated. And I love when he's one of those smart actors though. Like, he did a bunch of great shit and then he got out before he got dumb, and now he comes back in for cool roles now and then. He just comes in and does like some cool shit, cleans up house, makes a paycheck, goes home.
I heard he's a really professional sort of actor. He's all about methodology. I mean, I love Escape from New York, The Thing.
Oh yeah,
dude. I watched this interview with John Carpenter. He said he's the most consummate professional he's ever worked with. Really, really.
He is someone that, like, based off of like how he acted in interviews that I watched and stuff, I always thought it would be like a cool person to meet, because like they say like don't meet your heroes, but I think that's bullshit. Like, I think that if you really pay attention to like social cues and interviews and stuff, you can tell like who you do want to meet. Like, very rarely is someone like very like a complete sociopath and able to like completely cover it up. So if you get past the love affair and actually pay attention to like what people are saying, I think you can find like some really cool individuals. And Kurt Russell is one of the ones it'd be a pretty dope interview time to hang out. That'd be like someone I just want to drink a beer with and like go do something. Like, what do you want to do? Like, what cool things do you want to do?
Matthew McConaughey is apparently another one.
Matthew
Also,
McConaughey would be amazing to hang out with too.
yeah.
Like I would definitely follow his schedule too. I'd be like, "What are we doing today, Matthew? Like, what's up? Like, what fucking what vibe do we have today?" Because that guy, man, he does so much.
Oh,
I I fucking I know I envy people like that. You know that are like he's able to. He has built a world for himself where he's able just to do what he wants. That is probably like he's one of the few like in a modern time, one of the few like old school kind of like leading men kind of actors that like still exist. Like that still has like it's not like some kind of like simp weird like thing about him where he's like, you know, emotionally disconnect whatever fucking thing that they do to the leading male character now. You know, make him odd or something. Like, no, he's just like an actual man. Like that used to be the thing. We used to like look up to men. Like I don't know what happened to film. Like, cause now it's like all the geeks and stuff. It's you know, like the biggest, your coolest action movies are like, I'm nervous and I have a fucking problem, and then like I'm MK Ultra at the same time. It's like with what? Like,
Doesn't make sense.
no, it gets into that weird emotional stuff that I'm just like, can we just go back to like the fun stuff? Like again, the '70s, right? Like all the quote unquote exploitation films that came out that were like brilliant. Just having low budgets, so all the dystopian movies that were made, like all the biker alien movies that were made, were brilliant. I'm like, that's just like, I like that. That's like real creativity. It's like, what do we have to make something happen? That's amazing. And then like you're getting like real creativity out of somebody, and like, yeah, there's a lot of like terrible stuff that came out of that. But there's a lot of great stuff.
Peter Jackson's early movies, like Brain Damage, like Brain Dead and Bad Taste, done on string, like, you know, real low budgets, but just the creativity on that was just absolutely amazing. You know, those old Australian movies.
I love old uh I love old horror and like weird oddity movies because like I like the practical effects. I'm a huge
Yeah,
practical effects person.
same.
There's just something about it. When you get into like old horror movies, especially like shit like The Howling and stuff, like
Yep.
the practical effects are just sick. The wolf like bodies and the squirting and oh.
Yeah, the condoms that they put in the people's faces, like, you know, for the transformations and that, it was just, yeah, no, it's true. I love that.
No, it's real. Like, I mean, how long did they sit there thinking that up? You know what I mean? And like, just all the planning and like and I'm sure like you couldn't do that to an actor, right? You couldn't just make an actor sit there while you sat there and figured that out. Like they were, like, you know what I mean? Somebody was sitting in a chair while like three other guys were standing around. Okay, this is what I think we should be doing. I think we got it worked out.
Yeah, the American was it? Am I right in saying it was also Rick Baker that did American Werewolf? He also worked on The Howling. Was it like that, or was it a protege of his? I forget. But it was those two werewolf movies. I love American Werewolf.
American Werewolf is amazing.
I'm trying to track down the script. Apparently, John Landis wrote a script for a sequel. Okay, and that got
Really?
rejected. Yeah, they made that American Werewolf in Paris movie in 1997, which was absolute balls. But he wrote a script for a sequel that happened direct aftermath of what happened after the first movie. I'm trying to track that down. It was on the internet somewhere and it's disappeared, and I really badly want to read that.
Oh, it's not right here. It said, this dude's giving us faulty information. Farewell, my lovely Lords of Flatbush, Death Race. I forgot that he was in Lords of Flatbush, Death Race 2000. Oh my goodness. But see, like that's the thing. You could be a serious actor and like have a movie called Death Race 2000 and be in
It's
Lords of
awesome.
Flatbush. You actually could, you know, it was like a utility thing. I like Clint Eastwood is one of my favorite actors, and when he started, he was like they still had bit actors, like basically you're a part of a theater group, right? You would join a studio, and like his first movie was like he was in an airplane fighting a tarantula, so it was like something versus giant tarantula or something like that, like black and white, like the models and stuff. But I love that stuff, and you know what I think? Like I think that people are missing out on opportunities. Like a lot of people want to exploit their kids on YouTube and do all this stupid shit. But I was like, you know what's even better than that? Like How about you put your kid in one of those rubber suits and build him like one of those little mini cities and have him fuck it up like Godzilla, you know? And if you have two kids, like that's even better, right? Like 2 3-year-olds just, and they would love it. They would have a great time.
Do it in slow motion. Yeah, why not? You could totally do that. My kid will love that.
Just you just put them in a big rubber suit, just let them go to town, build them a little city to devastate. That's at least, I mean, that's hours of entertainment for them. And I mean, if you cut up the footage, you got a movie there.
Before they get onto the Tide Pods, get them involved in creative stuff.
I used to think one of the things I used to think was cool was like stop motion stuff, but like I got on YouTube and there's like a new level of like autism with the stop motion stuff. There's weird things going on, like things that look like snakes go into a hole and then it comes out and it's Legos and then the Legos transform into cotton ball. I'm like, what is going on here?
Absolutely love stop motion, and we're going through. This is the best stop motion we've ever had because of the technology. They've got dragon film now. We can line because I mean in the old days when like the old like you've got these holiday specials in the US. Rankin Bass did like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah.
Claus did Mad Monster Party. Those all those things were animated using film. So you would shoot like maybe 30 seconds of film a day. They didn't have to go out, get exposed, come back, and then would run it and see if you made any mistakes. Now you do everything as it is, and you can get such amazing results. And and companies like Leica, like Aardman, doing such amazing work, but also a lot of independent stuff. It's just I love stop motion because to me, if I had to choose like a mode of favorite animation, it would definitely be stop motion.
Well, I mean, I think that there needs to be looking into different things. What I've noticed is that there's a real trend of recycling things that are popular in history. People just don't realize that they're recycling things. So like my big thing is in America we used to have the Sears catalog. I don't know what big catalog that you had in England for like ordering things, but prior to the internet, like the Sears catalog was the catalog you went through and ordered stuff. And like that's what Amazon is. It's just the digital version of a Sears catalog. I mean, that's like or like I said, like with the DVD, Redbox is just now a compressed version of a video store.
I'm
same
gonna
thing with Netflix.
look that up. I've never because it's like a new thing to me. Redbox. I gotta find out more about that because we still buy physical media. We've got walls and walls just full of DVDs because we're afraid people are going to come in there and change our favorite movies.
No, that's that's the one thing I think it's going to be really weird is like when humanity finally does implode on itself and the world ends and some alien creatures come down to reseed the planet and start this project over again. What's going to be left is these odd remnants, right? And like they're going to find all these hard drives of fucking just collections of TV shows and movies, and it's gonna be, they're gonna be like, why did this culture collect these TV shows? I don't understand like what it is about. And it'll just be like hundreds of thousands of pirate drives, of like tens of thousands of hours of movies and TV shows and stuff that were just gold. But you know what? There used to be a quality thing. And I'm really upset that now because everybody wants to like play these stupid games of you need to like check all these boxes, that quality is like then the box is not being checked. And so like I found a retro review channel the other day, like a retro channel that like hosts a whole bunch of like old TV shows. I'm assuming some of them are out of copyright or sitting in some kind of limbo where they can host them on YouTube and not get struck down. And there's a bevy of these cartoons, and I remember some of them because they're on like UPN kind of like back before there was like cable was like pretty much the predominant thing when there was still more local television centers in America and stuff, and there was like smaller channels that could still develop. Like there was these littler networks that would have these cartoons. Well, they've collected these. I was watching those. All of that shit is better. Even those bad cartoons that got like lost in the shuffle of life are still better than half the shit that was like getting produced and shoved down the throat of my kids. So I'm like, what is going on? I want to know what happened to like Cartoon Network When I was a kid,
yeah.
Cartoon Network was the shit. Like it was the edgy thing. It had the leading edge of stuff.
I loved Cow and Chicken and IR Baboon, and I love Power. I actually like Powerpuff Girls. Well, there's a lot of innuendo and there's a lot of smartness behind that plastic veneer. That was pretty good.
It was Johnny Bravo, but then like even like when I was a teenager and I got into like Adult Swim and like their Space Ghost and Sea Lab and
It's Apocalypse.
yeah, Metalocalypse and Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Venture Brothers and stuff like that stuff. You think you wouldn't see that on there now, like that wouldn't pass the cut, and it's like that blows my mind that you wouldn't necessarily like. I don't see a new property like those being developed on there necessarily. I think old staples like Robot Chicken can stay. We'll be able to get away with some shit because they are a property that built them, but you won't see because of like new regimes see newer properties that exist like that, and that's just like that breaks my heart because all those were different art styles and different kinds of comedy, and they were cool, and it was just like a freedom thing, and it's like now we're just out here censoring everything, just ruining the pot for everybody.
Yeah. But on the plus side, speaking purely selfishly on this, is like nobody's going to stop me doing my thing.
That's true.
You're gonna knock on my door and tell me you didn't like what you wrote in your last comic. It's not going to happen.
Like, oh yeah, well, I mean, if they do, like, I don't care, like because all these other people did like my shit. This is the second campaign. There is so where's the catch-up tier? Is there a catch-up tier?
It's not a tier in itself. It's when maybe I should do it as a separate tier. So if people just want the old comics, they can do that. But if you scroll all the way down,
Okay.
it's an add-on to any of these tiers. You just select the old comics. But if you scroll all the way down, you can see a copy of them. There we are. Yeah, those are the old. Yeah, those are the old ones.
All right. So they're available on add-on. All right. Because I mean, like some people do it differently. Some people do it like you can get like it'll just be a page tier where it's like one and the old ones together. Well, what do we got? So we can get the basic book tier, which is the book. We got Cathedral. What is the Cathedral?
It's the same comic, but it's got a different wraparound cover.
All right. Is there any significance to this cathedral, or is it just random?
I just love I really love Gothic architecture. I go crazy for that.
I do too. That's like one of those things that is like been lost in time. A lot of modern features have like, we don't have the same kind of craftsmanship.
It was so good. They brought it back like in the 1800s. They were like, Gothic was cool. Let's build all our churches in the Gothic style. And the UK Parliament, they're building this Gothic style with and I don't know if you ever saw it, but the cathedral in Cologne. It looks like something Geiger would develop. It looks like it was built out of human bones. It's the most ominous bloody structure I've seen in my entire life. It was like, wow, no, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. See you're on the the lager tier is basically it's like a discounted tier for everybody who backed the first campaign. Then this is like a catch up, so you can have all the stuff from the new campaign. It's going to be a bit cheaper. So it's got both covers. It's got the lager stomping embroidered patch. It's got a little booklet. Like on the previous campaign, I did this making of Merry Boys, where I just chucked all the art and all the designs and notes and things that I had from making it into a little art book, and people like that. So I thought I'm going to do that again, just with all like some thumbnails, character designs, sketches, thoughts, and maybe some British to American sort of cultural translations and references. Not that you really need it, but there will be some subtleties from these books that might not dawn on people like immediately if they read it, which I think will be handy. And the last thing is like these 3 art prints, which I did also in the previous campaign. So the art prints, it's the 2 versions. It's basically the 2 wraparound covers without any logos and stuff. And then there's the
okay, there we go. Boom.
There we go. Yeah, you can see those.
Oh, it's just 15. Oh, it's like nothing to add it on. Nothing to add it on. And then you get additional print. Oh, we can just keep going. So this is the campaign you're talking about. Oh, that's fucking cool. that reminds me of like little like punk rock like zines that used to be handed out.
That's it. It's just I love that cut and paste, like when you used to get those punk magazines, skateboard magazines, where everything looks like it's been homemade. I'd love to do a comic where everything is, not everything, but a lot of you'll have art and some of the backgrounds are xeroxed and cut paste from actual city scenes and things. I'd love to do at least one story where it's just like that. Maybe a bit of spray paint, a lot of white out.
Ooh,
Just
sounds that would be dope. It sounds time consuming though. It'd be
yeah,
dope though. Oh my
that's all
goodness.
time consuming.
It also like I could imagine like artistically wise you. Oh my goodness, it'd be a nightmare. You'd have to sit there and buy all those fonts and stuff and things. That would be dope. Oh man, I like that. I like those. That's what So there's some artists that like absolutely need to do ash cans. Like you watch them. I went to one of them is Dan Plagle. He's gonna do in the Goblin Girl book. Um, this dude has rewritten like I don't know how many pages, like redrawn. I mean, fully rendered, done like top to bottom, and he's like a super fast, really amazing, good artist. And this dude just tossed him away. I was like, dude, you need to do a trash can, like an ash can, like of all the shit that you like thrown away. Because every time he goes to throw something away, people are like, no, stop, don't, like, please, I want that, like, please give it to him. Like, no, don't give it away. Put it like, well, print it first. I mean, before you give it away, like, get a copy of it, and like, make a little booklet. Because I'm telling you, like, everybody jumps on all these prints that you're doing of these pages that you're throwing away. Like trash can, this is the
People
time
like
for
the process. They like getting in behind the crowd. I mean, like I'm a big fan of Will Eisner, and I love seeing he's got this process book of how he used to put the comic books together with notes and things, and I love that. People just eat it up. It's like getting behind the swing of the axe into the mindset of the artist, seeing the building blocks. That if you're into making comics, then that's
Well,
extremely.
that's the thing. People like the DVD extras, like the behind the scenes and the making of and stuff. That was something. Oh, I was sitting there thinking just now. Sketch streams are really cool if they're done right, and like time lapses are probably like the best thing. And I think one of the most the most thrown away things that are happening in CJ right now is that there's a lot of artists that are doing a lot of work and they can't reveal it on stream. And I get that. You can't reveal it now, but that doesn't mean, especially when you're spending hours off camera, that you shouldn't record it. You should record it because then you have all that material that once the product's out that you can release. And it does two things. Like it hypes the book too and it promotes you. Like it's more material and like content for your channel. But you like thinking about behind the scenes kind of stuff. What if you did like a director's commentary? You know what I mean? Like you sit there, you go through like weeks, right? And you take like a week at a time of drawing. You just sit there and talk about like what was going on during that week, what you're thinking, like what's happening. Like, oh man, I remember when I was on this page, I had this issue, and like I ran out of coffee, and my cat died, and but just like all the different things that were just like what was going down.
Yeah, it's about getting to know the person. It's about getting to know the person and the real sort of. Well, what's nice about it's nice. It's also a bad thing. Comics tend to be like a very solitary pursuit. Unlike movies and things where you can get where it's like a community thing. This is like literally in a little room with nobody watching. You do what you're gonna do, and opening that up, it seems almost like counterintuitive because it's just you who would care, but there are lots of people who care, especially people who want to do it. Like I mean, I always like if you take the kind of approach, and it's like with anything that you do, like on YouTube and whatever, there needs to be something for the viewer. It can't be completely self-indulgent. It's got to make them laugh, or it's got to show them how to do something. It's got to be practical. These videos that you see of guys showing how to screw in a light bulb, because there's just people who just don't like how or how to switch on a Mac. I don't know. How to look it up. These videos have got millions of views because there's a utility value to it, and there should always be like a utility value or something in it for the guy who's going to be watching it. And I guess that's the approach everybody's going to adopt. I've got to train myself to do that. You know?
I think it also depends on what medium you work with. I mean, there's different setups you have to do. Like some people are still very traditional and they only do like traditional inking, and so like for them that that's a whole different camera setup. Whereas one thing I do really like if you are digital, is that it's much easier to run a show digitally because you can have a couple of monitors, you can get an iPad, you can run that iPad through several different kinds of things, whether it's an iMac or a PC. There's different ways to route that in there to get it on the screen, and you can sit there and all your work can be there. You can be based on the camera, and like you can have a screen to be able to like peer up and read comments, here and there while you're doing it.
Yeah, Kelsey does that. He does works digitally. I'm completely traditional. Mostly just trying to get away from computers. I used to work digitally, but now it's my break away from the screen. But yeah, it is. You can just share your screen, and then you got it. Much easier. Now I have to poise. Like sometimes I work on a big scale, so where's the camera going to go? And you have to zoom in, zoom out. You have to make sure that everybody able to see. You make sure that the lighting doesn't blow out your camera.
And then it also depends on like how you work, because digital also, the big thing that digital helps is with artists move around. Like I've never seen a person just like, it's not like a tattoo where like you start from the bottom and like work your way up or whatever. Like I see artists go here and then go over here and then go over here and then go over here and then like work in this little section for a little while and then go over here. It's like over time it puts the whole picture together. But yeah, that is a more challenging when you're working traditionally to have something tracking what you're doing.
Yeah, you got to zoom in. It's something I've considered. I've got some drawing videos up on my channel. That's sped up.
Well, see, so my thing is like, even if you do like supplementary stuff digitally, like if you do your book like I understand like there's a lot of value in doing physical artwork. Just I mean, aside from keeping the talent sharp, but just in the value of having a physical piece of something that could be sold or kept for yourself. Like if you want to keep your own, like have the foundation of your own work, but like having things like physical pieces of artworks, there is like this hybrid thing where people are digitally penciling and then physically, printing out and physically inking and doing some kind of hybrid art. I think that you can do a mix of both. I think that you could do your traditional work, and then for streams, you can still promote your product, but you could be working on things that are more for your Patreon or YouTube members, right? Like as you build, if you have 1,000 subscribers, you can build your YouTube members and offer them things. Not if you can just start a Patreon. And I think what the big mistake is that people do is they try to do it like a monthly merch club. And instead of doing that, you need to do it like a traditional music like fan club. And you have to be here for 3 months. Once you've been here for 3 months, like now you get a sticker in the mail. Once you've been here for like a year, you get this patch. Once you've contributed, kicked into the kitty, been a fan, and been around, and like actually helped perpetuate it. Well, that time frame, like that, like the time on stream, you could be using those digital drawings. That could be NFTs or different things that you could give to your fans, or make rewards or prints that or something that could be a print for like that Patreon. What I mean? You could dual purpose that you'd be fulfilling and creating content at the same time.
Yeah, it's all a web that you got to figure out. I was thinking of doing, because we do sometimes we, like on a UK show, we'll have like this thing where I draw something, by the end of the show I'll reveal it. And
yeah.
It would make more sense to have it on screen and just to have it completely digital. Because then it'll be easier for people to see what I'm doing.
A show idea that I have that I want to get once I make enough artist friends and like make enough people that want to come back on is I want to call it, like, this is completely, because this is the joke of it though, is I want to call it Drawing Greatness. And like when I do that show, I'm going to come on as a different character where I'm just completely stuck up. And the whole idea is that you just draw every show is just having the artist come on and do an interview while drawing the host.
Okay.
So it's just drawing greatness.
Drawing fire.
So it's just, the whole idea is like to be like a stuck up host. You know what I mean? Like I might even do like a completely like different character for like a show like that.
It'll be like you have to do an insulting caricature of the stuck up host. It's
Yeah.
like a villain that the chat hates, and you're supposed to make fun of the host in the actual drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Ethan could do well with that actually, because people love making fun of him.
Oh, people love calling him fat. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, he plays up to it. That's but I'm not gonna. He eats it up. Gotcha.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I know he eats it up every super chat. He's like, "Yeah, I'm a fat piece of shit for $10."
He rolls.
Click.
Yeah.
Yeah. As hundreds of dollars roll in.
You gotta do that. Like that's the personable thing. It comes back to the personable thing. If you're gonna be sensitive about it, it's like in real life. You're with a group of guys, and comics book fans are basically a group of guys. And you're oversensitive about anything, people are just gonna kick your ass. They're gonna, every opportunity you're gonna be the butt of somebody's joke. If you don't, and if you roll with it, then people see, okay, you're a person. You're a person. Like I'm sure you were in the military. I'm sure it was like the same thing. You roll with it. You take the knocks, and you show that you're one of the dudes, sort of thing. And you show that, hey, I don't consider myself to be better than anybody else. I can take it. I can dish it out, and that's how you build healthy sort of relationships with people in general.
Yeah, that's kind of a lost thing in society. There used to be like a feeling of you had to do certain things to be this thing. Like people were like, now it's like you're stopping me from being the thing that I want to be. I was like, no, you don't want to be the thing you want to be, because the thing you want to be, you don't like. Like when I showed you what it was, you were like, I don't like that, and that used to deter people. Now people are just like, no, I'm going to do it anyways. And like it's become this culture of like it's been such a you can do it, pat on the head, like participation towards society for so long that like people think that they have like a God-given right to achieve things. It's not even like, everybody has a right to try anything. You know what I mean? Like
you got to earn your chops, you got to take your knocks, you got to get the bloody nose eyes before you start dishing it out again. It's just how it works. It's like
there's a bunch of people that failed in like 30 different things before they hit it off. The guy that found one of the founders, I guess, of McDonald's, or I guess what you could call the modern McDonald's Corporation, because like there's two original owners and that guy kind of stole it. That guy, was like a failed salesman, like was having hard times doing a lot of stuff for a long time before he like came across that franchise and blew it up into that situation.
Yeah, my uncle's a good example. I mean, he was also it's long story short, he's got this huge crane operation now, but he started off with literally nothing. He put a mortgage up on his house, sold his car to hire a crane for one job, and it just grew into this big thing. But he had all these crazy bloody ideas before that failed horribly, from selling ice cream to this was in South Africa. Like there was this. I'll tell you a funny story. Is like he had this business proposal with his partner to do funerals, but it was for reusable coffins. So you'd have coffins are bloody expensive. You'd have the funeral, and then at the end of the funeral, the bottom of the coffin would open up, and the body would fall into the hole. And they would just. And his business partner was the guy who was in touch with the community and would get all the funeral, like advertise the funerals and stuff. But then his business partner died himself.
Oh, no.
That whole business was that process of trying new things. He's got an entrepreneurial mind, and he just carried on trying new kooky things until eventually he found something, and he stuck with it. And it's like for everybody, absolutely everybody trying something new. You got to stick with it.
It's that's the thing. Like people are afraid to fail. Like instead of like failing and just like learning a lesson and using that to like build yourself, people are just like, I failed and I give up. Like my world is over. Like no, you're just were not meant to be that thing. Like you're meant to do something else. I guess like or maybe you need to come back at it, because there's plenty of people who have failed at things and then come back and repackaged, did the same thing and like were completely successful the second time around. So
Yeah, and that's because of the personality. It's because of that personality who's not going to give up. You know, it's a hallmark of success, that a certain temperament that is insuppressible. Insuppressible. Is that the right word? Yeah.
I think it's gotten too soft, is what it is. Like there used to be a thing of like you could strive to do something, and now I think that life in general is too comfortable. And because it's just too comfortable, there's too many safety nets, it like makes humans too lazy. We're not evolved mentally enough to handle chilling like this. Like it's just not the thing.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I think that's why people have to go in the gym and stuff. I think that's like why there's such like a crazy like workout culture and stuff, is because it's like an animal. It's like this thing, like there's a certain amount of like animal monkey brain that still exists that requires like a certain amount of movement, exercise, like certain amount of grit or whatever, like things going on.
Testosterone needs to come up. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm gonna. I forgot I signed up for a 6 mile run, which is tomorrow. We
Oh
signed up
yeah.
months ago, and I didn't really train for it, so that's gonna be fun.
There we go. Make sure you stretch first. Drink some water.
Oh god, yeah, it's gonna be great.
Do you have to go home and draw after that, or where are you at on the
Yeah,
process with the book?
I've done all the penciling, so all the final pencils I've done, which is the hardest. Well, that's not. That's my process is basically, you thumbnail out the story, you letter the thumbnails, then you shuffle things around, make sure that the storytelling works properly. Then I'll do the final pencils, and then I'm on to the final links, and I'm on the final links now. So it's just embellishment at this point. So yeah, it's the final stages. I find it's good to start crowdfunding at this point, because then you can start sharing stuff as you finish it, and people still feel like they're part of that creative process. Whereas a lot of people they do the entire thing finished, and then they do the crowdfunding. But then it's almost like you don't see any of the stuff behind the scenes. You don't see partially finished work. You don't see any of that.
You lose some of the magic of it. Well, I think it's just like one of those weird pendular reactions to where there just was fulfillment issues in the beginning, and so now that we've gotten past that, people are just like, no, like the big thing is, especially if you're a first time creator, it almost seems like that you want to have your project done because it's like I'm gonna fulfill. Like, look, you like it? Oh, look, it's done. Like, there's
Yeah,
48 pages
yeah,
here. Like, we're gonna print it. Like, it's going to the printer. I promise.
you're right. No, you're right. That's the reason. That's the reason. But that's the thing. It's the whole idea of crowdfunding is you'll get enough money together so that you can pay an artist or whatever it is, and the printing cost to
Yeah,
make this happen. So that's
to
got
do
to
it.
happen
Yeah.
first, in a way, before the artist shouldn't be doing the work before.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I think the trust got abused and it had to be built back. And I think that people, like you said, like you can have a portion, a probably a good measured and like responsible portion of your book done before you start getting into your campaign.
Yeah,
Whatever that is for your process as an artist. I don't, like some people might do their pages all the way through top to bottom after they've done, whatever your process is, but that you have a legitimate enough amount of work. The one project that I think is absolutely ridiculous that I backed, but is just like an insane amount of work, is that Joe Ball book with the 300 pages.
I know. I was like three. I've done 175, and that was mission. 300 pages blows my mind. That's
300 pages with the detail, like the kind of work that he does, the
yeah.
kind of artwork that he
No,
does.
they're
Like,
not
it's
Mickey Mouse
insane.
pages. They're
No.
pages.
No, it's insane. I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. Like, man, that. Have you have you ever looked into? We talked about this earlier about some like the open domain character, or like DC was going to have characters go open domain or things or whatever. Have you looked at any of the open domain characters that don't have any kind of lawsuit or anything attached to it, that are just kind of dusty lore that
All
could be
right.
dusted off and like repurposed and reused? Because I
Yeah.
know like um, the Monster MD dude. Oh damn, I'm forgetting his
Klaus,
name. Yeah, Klaus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Von Klaus. He's doing that. He's doing
Terror and the
Terror. Yeah,
yeah.
which
Spoke to me.
looks fucking dope. That looks so sick. I'm signed up for the waiting list on that one. I was like, I got Monster MD and I didn't get the sketchbook, and I'm mad.
I love Monster MD. It was one of my favorite CG books so far. Yeah, no, he can write. The boy can write too. You know, which is I see, that's the thing. It's because things can look good on paper. You can have excellent designs and things, but then there are there are problems with plots and writings and things. But once you've got one good story from one good artist slash writer, then you know, okay, this is solid. You can go. So I will keep backing Von. He knows exactly what he's doing. You know, it's he's one of those success stories. He's also a guy who he's like me, just came into crowdfunding and he made a huge success over what he
Oh yeah, dude, he
Yeah.
made wave there. It was
Yeah.
very punk rock. I like it. Von Klaus, like, it reminds me of mix of like of some of my punk rock buddies, but he also kind of like looks and reminds me a little bit like Corey Taylor of Slipknot. Like, it's just, I don't know, he's got a cool vibe. But like that, but the Terror though, that's an open source character that like anybody
Yeah.
could write a Terror comic if they wanted to. Have you ever like thought about looking in or digging into it, especially like with the British comics and any
I
British
was
characters?
the British ones, no, but I've been thinking of. I've always wanted to do a vampire book, and I was
Okay.
thinking Nosferatu. I was thinking of doing something with that, but the problem is Narwhal's done a bloody Nosferatu book. Damn him. So you'll have to do.
Oh, the other problem is though is like CG is like werewolf heavy. It's like Team Jacob up in this bitch, like everybody.
I love werewolf, but I've got a book by Sabina Baring-Gold, the Book of Werewolf. It was published in the late 1800s, which it compiles all the werewolf lore and stuff. It's like the
Okay.
original bits and stuff where it comes from. And I would love to do something that is divorced from all the modern thinking on werewolves and vampires too. Modern thinking of werewolves, and take it back a few notches, where it literally was just almost like a euphemism for a serial killer. The Howling was a bit like that. It was about serial killers, but almost take it a few steps back, where there is no real transformation. It is all psychological and psychedelic. That would be a good thing.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, well, you don't rely on where it isn't even really a monster movie anymore. It's more of a psychological thriller.
Thriller,
yeah. I'd love to do that, but I don't know if that's going to be good for a comic, because comics are good for visual. For visual sort of.
I think you would have to cross into like a pulp fiction kind of, like you would have to go into like that direction to probably tell a story like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you could do it. I mean, there's probably like a medium, some sort. I don't know, man. If you look back far enough, it seems like everybody's created something, and you might find something in the vein, or even a time frame.
Have you ever read The Werewolf of Paris? It was a novel by Guy Endore.
No.
It's basically considered to be the Dracula of werewolf fiction. It was published in the 1930s, so it's devoid of all this, modern day vampire werewolves can be heroes nonsense.
Werewolves are a tortured slave society.
Yeah, like Anne Rice. She came up with his harebrained idea where the werewolf fights crime or something like that. It's a psychopath. It's a drug addict. It is a child molesting monster. Is a horrible bloody thing. That's the character. It's the unseen evil in a little village that gets uncovered, where the only way people can explain the horrific shit that this person did, that he must have turned into some sort of animal that he wasn't himself. I mean, that's where it comes from. It's a psychopath, But look up if you're really into werewolf lore and stuff. That is a really good book, and it's desolate. It's quite dark and grim in a very unromantic sort of way. It's really cool.
Unforgiving. See, I like that though. I like people that are raw with books and stories. I want to get to the meat of things, and I want to know exactly how you feel. You know what I mean? Like, I want clear expressions of people's ideas. I don't like when people are like cleaning things up for me, and I don't like having to clean up things for other people who are like, that are my speech.
The police, the speech police, the tone policing stuff is a lot of shit. It's bad for art. I mean, would you walk into a gallery and say, Francis Bacon, there's a lot of blood on this canvas. It promotes sexual violence. I think you should change it. But you're going to get told to fuck off immediately. It's because it's art. Art moves into a different. This isn't a public service announcement. It's art. If it's art, then there's a different compartment in society where you are allowed to do what you want. And people understand it. That's the context. This is an expression. This is not what you necessarily believe yourself. This is you expressing an idea that you want people to think. It's almost like opening up a debate over something, if that's what you want to do, or just to entertain. It's not a handbook on how to live your life. That's what they can't draw that distinction. You're not supposed to physically go and do what I just wrote about. Sit down.
No. No, people can't. They can't get the idea of, like, this is fun. Like, this is representing things. Like, it's representing the fun idea that I had in my head. That's funny, and like the reason why it's funny is because it's inappropriate. Like, that's inappropriate. Exactly. Yeah, that's why I wrote it. I did it. like this.
If it wasn't inappropriate, it wouldn't be funny, because that's how humor works. Humor is the surprise, and the surprise is it being inappropriate. That's how the mechanism of humor works. It's a lot like the mechanism of fear. Fear works the same way. It's a surprise. It's an unfamiliar circumstance, but it's got a different reaction, but it's got the same mechanism.
Oh, and unabashed, like, raw comedy, like when you're just like Ricky Gervais at the award show, just sitting there, and I hate all of it. Just going in on every. And you all suck. You're all terrible. I don't even know why they're letting me do this. This doesn't even make sense that I'm still on air right now, but we're going to keep going.
Did you ever watch a movie called Very Bad Things with Christian Slater? It was in the 1990s.
Yes, but you'd have to remind me of the plot, because I watched a bunch
Guys
of
go to Vegas and kill a prostitute.
Yeah, okay, yes.
Things get progressively worse.
Oh God, they were like tossing her up or something on a bed sheet, and she like fell and like broke her neck. Yeah, didn't they get like a chainsaw or something like at some point like that?
Yeah, they had to get rid of
it. Got real fucking wild.
Desert, and nobody was supposed to talk about it. Then Christian Slater he just goes off. He just wanders off the reservation and he starts killing people, and everybody ends up in a wheelchair or insane by the end of the movie. And I can just imagine how problematic people find, because it is completely inappropriate. It is horrible, but you laugh at it. I mean, some of the biggest tragedies in my life, it's a coping mechanism where you start making jokes about it afterwards. I
mean, like, what do you want to do? You want to sit there and feel shitty about it, or you want to do something that helps you deal with it? You
disarm it by laughing about it. That's how you cope with a lot of stuff. And I don't know. It's almost like people just don't understand human nature. People want
man, could you imagine like how many movies would be gone? Like Trainspotting would be gone. Wow, what is there? Oh, there's
because everything makes fun of something. You couldn't pick up a movie, with any entertainment value that doesn't make fun of something that's tragic.
Well, like, okay, even like I mean, you go like even like movies that are based around like weird manly things, like frat party movies and stuff like that, like these weird party movies. They're all hyperbolic characters. It's all like it's making like people don't understand like, yeah, okay, this is the cool character, the main character, the thing of the movie, but this is not like a person like everybody in their mind or a normal person used to think this is not who I would hang out with. Like this is a movie character. This is a hyper version. This is a hyper story. That's what makes this story fun, because it's a made up story.
And he's objectifying women. He's a bad person. We should not be celebrating this character by giving him a movie. I'm like, no, nobody would do that. We're laughing at this character.
We're not celebrating him. We're
not celebrating him. He's not our hero. We're not forming a cult around the personality of the guy from Animal House.
No, or like, or American Pie, or any of the other ones. It's like oh man, like The other movies that are great are like Weird Science. Like, could you imagine if they tried to make Weird Science in 2021, dude?
Yeah.
Like two nerds making
The
the
hot
perfect woman, the hot girl. Like, oh goodness, and we have to live up to these standards. And she's computer generated. Like,
do better.
there's
Yeah. You can hear it now. I can totally hear it now. It's like, what the fuck? Just
no, or they would do it and they would make the chick like a trans person, or they would make them like extremely. It'd be like a fat model or something.
They'd fucking do it. That'd be like the experiment went wrong, and now you have to deal with it. And the story would be about the two boys just having to live up to their white male privilege. It'd be fucking hilarious. And every time they keep trying and they keep fucking it up, and it becomes it becomes everything that they don't want. And then they have to deal with it. These are the consequences. It'll be like, that's the tagline. There are consequences to your actions.
People, oh man, 16. Another one, like, or you like remove like brilliant, funny, hilarious like parts of movies. Just it's fucking it's meant to. It's like a joke, so it's meant to be funny. But like the Asian dude in 16 Candles when he's falling out of the tree. Hey, sexy girlfriend, like. You couldn't. Oh my god! They'd be like, he's putting on an Asian accent. Like the dude's Asian. Like, but they would be like, he's exacerbating it, a characterization. Like, is he or is he? You know, I don't know. Maybe it's just he is, and it's a movie, and that was the joke, and like you missed the joke. Like you keep missing the joke.
There's a scene in The Lady Killers where they've got this Asian guy who chases a cat up a tree. You know, and everybody's having a little giggle about that. it's like it's meant to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, but you laugh anyway. Then you know.
Or what is the bowling movie with the Amish bowling movie with the guy that was missing his hand? What? Oh my goodness!
I don't know.
Woody Harrelson. He was a bowler who was an alcoholic, and he had made an Amish buddy, and they were on tour. They were like touring. It was like a wash.
It sounds great.
Kingpin. That's the name of the movie. Kingpin.
Oh, right. Okay.
Kingpin. Right. Like that's another like the landlord when she's like aggressively hitting on him like sexually, like for sexual favors to pay the rent or whatever, and it's great. Like you're making fun of this. Like we're making fun of everything. That's the funny joke. It's like it's inappropriate for some ugly, crazy, weird female like to aggressively sexually hit on you and be like, if you eat my vagina, I'll give you like free rent for the month. That's an odd thing. That's what it's funny. That's like most people would laugh. You're angry. Your emotions are mixed up.
Yeah. Christ. Oh, God.
It must be the internet, but it has been 2 hours, sir, and I've had an amazing conversation with you. But I know that we started this at 8 a.m. and it's 10 a.m. and it's Saturday, and that aside from drawing, you probably like have some things you want to do with your life.
Oh, cool, dude. I don't want to keep. Yeah, it's also must be probably 2:15 in the morning where you are now. So yeah.
Oh, that's no problem for me, but I don't want to keep you forever and ever and ever. And
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed having a chat. This is my socializing. I don't get to go out anymore. You know? It's just work. And
that's what I'm saying. Look in the newspaper and stuff, or get on, whatever. Get on there and start looking up. There's always stuff going on in your town. You just got to get connected. That's why I keep telling people, get out and about. That's some of the content that's on this channel. That get out and about and see us out around Spokane.
Yeah, I still have to work my way through your videos, but there's a lot of interesting stuff there. It's just fun, It isn't, it's a bit more off the wall than your typical sort of.
Well, I was a big radio fan growing up, so like I love my Howard Sterns and my like Opie Anthony's and the different guys like that. And take a little piece of that.
Yeah. That's it. It's like the point is to entertain, not self-embellishment. Yeah, awesome.
But,
brilliant.
Let's see, real quick. Share screen. Do I want to share window? This one. Share. See if that shows up. No, that's not how I wanted to share that. We'll stop that. Stop sharing. Boom. That messed. All right. We will share appropriately real quick. Screen. Boom, Brave tabs. I use a different tab. I don't use like Google, so this is where I get so. But we can check out. So okay, sure. So we can check out the IndieGoGo project, which is if I can get out of this part of the contribution. Yeah. Boom, boom. Check out Mary Boy's Beef Heads. We can catch up on the first couple of books by adding it on. You can get the full fat tier where you get a cool patch and some extra prints and both versions of the book. We can also go and share screen. We can also check out Facebook. Share screen. They need to make this like where you can switch things out better. Boom. Facebook. Boom. We're on Facebook. Send a message. Oh, there we are. We got an advertisement for the show right there at the top. Now, I do hate how Facebook does like tries to force you to sign in. Can't look at anything without signing in.
That's how they get you.
And then share screen. And we have an Instagram. So check out the Instagram. Instagram's got a lot of art on it. And that's like if you're an art fan, if you think that you're going to like a group of drunken punk rock, God damn it, Instagram.
Owned by Facebook. Does the same thing.
Okay. Anyways, let's go back to StreamYards. Anyways, share screen one more time. We'll go back to the IndieGoGo. Boom. And we will, there we go. We'll main screen this. So you can check out my guest Karl here on a bunch of different social medias. Let's do this from the top. We can hit Twitter, you can hit Facebook, and you can hit Instagram. All Mary Boys or Mary Boys 1. You can check it out on IndieGoGo. So if you haven't backed this campaign and you think that you might want to back this campaign, I'm backing this campaign. I would strongly suggest that you click it, get the whole package, because that's whenever you don't get the like entire package, you end up angry at yourself when everybody else has all the goodies and you don't have the goodies, right? So I would definitely do that. Also, like 9 times out of 10, there's always like I have regret that I don't get like the alternative color cover when there's like limited like this, where there's like 10 covers and I don't feel so bad about it. We have 2 covers. You're gonna probably want both covers, so it's just better to get the whole pack. Do it all the way. Back once, back twice, back multiple times, friend. And
thank you very much.
With that, let's play the trailer. The caller.
Here we go. Never far from a bloodstained paddle. Heading to the bar with my brothers holding hip to metal. I smell sinners and I swear I'm running out of cheeks. Father, forgive me, but my tolerance is getting weak. Should I flatten them out or should I take a shot? Bottoms up before I pile up some body parts. The devil's in the bottle, so I guzzle from a glass. With every sip, I feel like taking out the city's trash. A fitting job for a quad of rowdy dumpster babies. We cheat to death, it's only fair that we replenish Hades. Or we could pray to repent and let God sort them. I'd rather make them confess and go to war on them. Stop it. Stop it. Verse 2, the perfect setup for the proper sequel. It's proper piece of comics, Mary Boys, there is no equal. Despite our mother's worst intentions, yeah, we walk the valley and cast a shadow with death, the wickedness surrounding. Just want to go to the tavern and pound a couple lagers, but now my boots are